Hi everybody, I'm here at the 21st Shanghai Automotive Industry Exhibition, also known as Auto Shanghai 2025. This is the 40th anniversary of the Shanghai Auto Show, and this is probably my 12th or 13th time attending the show. Second time since 2023 when everybody came back. And this is going to be my quick summary of what I saw. I've spent 4 days walking the show this year, including the first 2 press days, attending various press events, running around to interviews, talking to the CEOs. And then the last couple of days, I spent my time putting my consumer hat on, just trying to get a feel of the cars themselves, the activities, marketing activities, branding, what the salespeople are doing, what the potential consumers are talking about. And prior to the show, I attended a few events, including CATL's launch of their Freevoy battery, the Nastra, the latest mass-produced sodium-ion battery, as well as the second generation Xing battery, LFP battery, an attempt at breaking a higher glass ceiling in terms of battery range, charging speed, chemistry format, structural innovation, kicked it up a notch in terms of the battery competition. And then I attended a couple of other events prior to the press day, including what I thought was a very inspiring event is the Volkswagen Group China Media Night, where Volkswagen revealed 5 of their new models, their next generation in China for China models, the ID Evo from Volkswagen Anhui, the ID Era from Shanghai Volkswagen, the ID Aura from the FAW Volkswagen, based off of the ID code concept that was shown last year at the Beijing Auto Show. And then obviously Audi, now 2 Audi brands, right? There's the 4 Rings Audi brand that came out with the A6L e-tron from the Northern Audi FAW joint venture, and also the 4-letter AUDI Audi brand came out with a production car of the E5 Sportback. And I had a chance to talk to Oliver Blume, the CEO of Volkswagen Group, and he was kind of saying, you know, now we finally caught up with the appearance, the reveal of these new in China for China models, where I think he thinks these models can be at the same starting line as the Chinese smart EV startups with the Chinese brands. What I saw from Volkswagen Group was shock in 2023 at the previous Shanghai Auto Show turned into action. And this year was kind of the counterattack that was shown by Volkswagen Group with latest in China for China models. And I think the big question mark is whether these models will do well on the market when the production versions come out next year. I think so. The test is really next year, whereas this year I think the market share, you know, hasn't bottomed out yet for the foreign automakers, but it was a huge bet. I think that shock turned into action in 2023 when Volkswagen Group announced an investment into XPeng. They announced the joint venture with Horizon Robotics in coming out with the AI ADAS that was announced this year that will go into one of the first vehicles of these upcoming China for China products. And then I think after the 4 days of show, I think one big narrative is all of the foreign brands that were here, foreign automakers. There's only a handful, right? There's Volkswagen Group, there's the Mercedes-Benz, there's the BMW Group, the Japanese, Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Mazda maybe, and then the Americans, Buick, Cadillac. I think there was one common theme for all of these foreign automakers is the appearance of the China tech inside in their vehicles. Okay, so one great example is LiDARs are starting to become more commonplace in these models, right? Examples, Buick's, Cadillac is putting on LiDARs, and these are more often than not supplied by either RoboSense or Hesai. Also, another company which I thought was the hottest company right now in the Chinese smart EV space is Momenta, which is the local Chinese ADAS startup. Now they just announced quite a few of these collaboration announcements at the auto show, including Honda, Buick, Nissan, right? Nissan just launched the N7, which has the higher versions of the model has the Momenta inside, the advanced ADAS functions. And then quite a few others, Motor and GM vehicles, which invested into Momenta. And then I think what Momenta announced something was really interesting is prior to 2023, there was only one model equipped with Momenta inside, and that was, I think that was the IM model. And this year, there'll be over 130 models, if I remember correctly. Just 2 years, how things have changed. Now, the other highlight I think was important to see was Horizon Robotics announced several updated collaborative projects with the foreign tier ones. So Bosch, Conti, Denso also announced a collaboration with some other Chinese OEMs. And we're seeing these solutions go into not only the Chinese brand vehicles, but also the foreign brand vehicles. Right, Volkswagen, for example, Volkswagen just announced a collaboration with RoboSense, putting on their LiDAR into their next generation ID Era extended range vehicle that's launching next year. And if we look at speaking of foreign tier ones, I spoke to several of their senior executive management, including Forvia, Conti, Bosch. I think what we're clearly seeing is the foreign tier ones are becoming more Chinese in the sense that everything that they revealed and debuted more often likely are 100% developed by the local team and addressing the needs of the Chinese OEMs, since their share of business in the Chinese domestic market from the Chinese automakers are increasing to 60%, possibly 70%, just as the Chinese automakers' share in the domestic market is increasing to probably about 70% this year, with the rest coming from the foreign automakers. So I think the tier ones are doubling down in the Chinese market with their in China for China solutions, and they're iterating quickly. And what I found, these solutions that are interesting is that even the solutions that were announced a year ago at the Beijing Auto Show, some of them are done. The OEMs are selecting different solutions that are announced this year. So I think this shows you how quickly the market changes in terms of requirements, speed, who you're working with. And what happens then is that some of the investment that go into these partnerships become obsolete. I think that really shows the competitive nature of the Chinese market. And then the other thing was about the Chinese brands, that who did not exhibit was as important as who did exhibit. So, and who did not come to the show was as important as who did not come to the show. And one great example is Xiaomi CEO Lei Xing wasn't here for reasons everybody knows now, that they had this accident that caused the industry to tone down this kind of marketing on the smart driving. Now everybody's paying attention and using smart assisted driving in their marketing jargon. So I think there was less commotion, there was less traffic, and where these CEOs, entourage like Lei Xing was visiting different booths last year. There were also that this year, but less. So I think it was great that this year's Shanghai Auto Show returned to being an international auto show. And when I say international, I'll tell you, I saw many more foreign faces compared to last year and compared to Shanghai, because these Chinese brands, the Cherries, Great Walls, Changlans, they invited thousands and thousands of their foreign dealerships, partners, investment, media. I think Cherry invited 5,000 international their partners to the event. So that shows you how the Chinese, the feel, I mean the booth and the way how they presented. Let's say who spoke, right? A lot of these foreign prominent designers have become the faces of these Chinese brands, Ricker, Lincoln Co., Joseph Caban with SAIC's Rowe AMG. If I look back, this was one of the most international auto shows to the true sense of the word. Not only we saw the Chinese presenting even stronger tech models, as well as the foreign tier ones, the foreign automakers, trying to launch a counterattack with their specifically tailored products for the Chinese market. And the other highlight was really more than any time before is a bunch of these brands showed humanoid robots. VTOLs, I think I saw that Xpeng, right, is a great example. GAC Group, Chery, Great Wall Motor. I think at least half a dozen automakers showed their humanoid robots and the eVTOLs. And then also, obviously, you can't talk about the Chinese auto show without talking about Huawei, right? Huawei was front and center. And I heard someone saying that really Huawei and CATL have now become the Wintel of the Chinese auto industry because they're so important, and you have to work with them to be able to be relevant. And we saw, Audi, right, has Huawei components inside. CATL, I mean, Robin Zeng, he was visiting every booth almost. And so it was a great mix-up of technology, new products, and then CEOs. We saw, Ala Zipsa visiting NIO, checking out the Firefly with their head of design, Adrian Van Huydonk. And then reverse, we saw, the visits from among the Chinese competitors. I think it was everybody tried to do something, and even Li Bin, NIO, he invited the former Volkswagen Group CEO Herbert Diess for a talk inside the ET9, which I experienced, and I sat in the Firefly. It gave me a great view into, and through speaking and talking and just going to the show as a consumer and asking the questions of these salespeople and how knowledgeable they are, and how even knowledgeable the consumers now of the vehicles, what they want, what kind of features are important. I think that was on show at this year's auto show. If I can summarize, really the key word is really collaboration. I think it's not only Chinese, between Chinese and the Chinese, but between the foreign automakers and the Chinese tech companies. Really more of Chinese inside the foreign brands. I think they now understood over the last couple of years of learning and working with these partners to push out products they think will work for the Chinese market. And that's what we saw. And I think Chinese continue to push the envelope, launching these bigger vehicles, right? The Zeekr 9X, Lincoln Co 900, the Chery, the Tor, Zongheng came out with the kind of a Wuhu Cullinan, like the G900, this Cullinan looking big plug-in SUV with the capability of their turbines so that it can drive in water. And Chery started out as a company that made ships. So that was interesting to see. And then there was, Lei Xing wasn't at Xiaomi's booth, but Xiaomi still had the traffic because they were handing out hats. And the queue to pick up a hat, 5,000 per day outside of the Xiaomi booth, wrapped around the building all the way around and back. Next door, Ambo, the salespeople just took the opportunity to hand out bags and ask people queuing for the Xiaomi hat to scan the code and get some leads. So, and every booth had live streamers, live streaming, promotions, features of the cars. So that's my kind of the quick summary. I have to be here to experience the competition, the dynamics, the cars, the features, the build, what the foreigners are doing in China, what the tier ones, what the Chinese tech companies are showing. I'm looking forward to the next Shanghai Auto Show in 2 years, and we'll see who still survives. And we saw, the ones that did not come for different reasons. Hyundai Kia wasn't here, but I think Hyundai is launching a new strategy. Some of the French and British brands weren't here. Even some Chinese smart EV startups are not here. And it won't be surprising if some of these new brands get merged or consolidated come Shanghai Auto Show in 2027. So I think there's still consolidation to be had, and I think we're going to see that. This price war is still going on, and this drive to the bottom does not bode well for everyone. And we'll go from there. See you in Beijing next year.